in the service of everyone being able to do this, like what I'm going to ask you is to think of something that's giving you, causing you pain at the moment. But I don't want you to tell me what it is. You don't need to. You need to connect to what it is, but you don't need to say that. So everybody can think of their own thing that's a current source of some sadness or suffering or pain in some way. And of course, thinking of something that feels right for this exercise for you to do now, and not necessarily picking something that's so difficult in this context that wouldn't be useful.
And let me ask this, would you put any boundaries on what the person consider? Could it be my shoulder hurts? Or should it be some life event? Seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some ways, yeah, it could be either. It could be either, but let's go for something that's a little bit more tricky, maybe even around interpersonal, or maybe, yeah, just maybe something.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just invite you to get comfortable wherever you are and just sitting in an alert position, maybe straightening your back if it's comfortable to do so. Just closing over your eyes, or just letting them look to a space on the ground in front. Gently noticing whatever sounds you can currently hear. Just letting those sounds anchor you here and now. I invite you to bring to mind something that's currently causing you pain or suffering. Maybe something that's tricky for you. There's not a right or wrong thing to think of, but just something that is a struggle for you. In your mind's eye, I want you to bring to mind that struggle. It might be present in this moment, or you might be bringing to mind an interaction with someone else where it's present. I want you to gently just take the time to feel what you feel. To think what you think. And remember what you remember. I invite you to not try to fix it, but just while extending kindness to yourself, gently allowing yourself to contact your pain. And as you do that, Notice that a part of you is noticing that pain, that suffering. I invite you to take that noticing part of your awareness. Just imagine leaving your body and looking back at yourself. Notice in your mind's eye what you look like from the outside. And while noticing that, realizing that inside you're hurting. I invite you to ask yourself, but not necessarily to answer, just to hold the question in your awareness. What do I think of that person I see called me? Is this a lovable person? Is this a whole person? I invite you to take that point of consciousness to the other side of the room, leaving yourself sitting there. Now, in your mind's eye, looking back at yourself from afar. See yourself sitting there suffering. I invite you to ask yourself again and again, do not answer, just holding the question in awareness. What do I think of that person I see called me? Is this a lovable person? Is this a whole person? Imagine now that in 10 years that you've grown far wiser and you remember that time Louise on a podcast asked you to picture yourself from across the room when you were suffering. If you could pass back 2 or 3 sentences from that wiser future about how to be with yourself with this issue, what would you pass back to yourself? Just imagine, I invite you in your mind's eye to mentally write yourself a short note of advice, maybe a sentence or 2. And then when you're ready, gently extending compassion to the you that has all your experiences. Once again, just noticing whatever sounds are in the room you're in. And then when you're ready, just opening over your eyes, having a stretch.
I need to write something down.